Ladies and gentlemen, we have big news today as Ilia Topuria just made an appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, and this clip was just released. And if you guys didn't catch it, something very significant, I believe, was said here. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. This is about potentially UFC 317, maybe a future card, but it's about this matchup for the lightweight title that I thought wasn't going to happen. I thought that Islam had essentially refused the Ilia Topuria fight and that it wasn't going to happen. He was waiting to see what happened and materialized in the welterweight championship fight and was really planning a move up. But there are two things that have happened that are making me now think that I think Islam versus Ilia is actually going to happen. And I think it very well might happen by UFC 317 for International Fight Week, along with Hamzat versus DDP. I think this is a theory. The first thing is that Ilia came out not too long ago saying that the UFC promised him a title fight and that they've always kept their promise. So he thinks that this fight will happen. That was a very bold statement that he put out there. I don't think he was lying because that wouldn't be a smart business decision to come out and basically put the UFC on blast if that was made up and if that was nonsense. So I think he was putting it out there, maybe adding a little pressure to the UFC, maybe really adding a little pressure to Islam. I don't know, whatever that play was, but I don't think that was capped. That would just be a bad look and a bad play. So I don't think that was the case. I think that was legitimate. But here's the second thing. Listen to this little segment. There's another thing I want to talk about in this video as well, which is a super fight that looks like it's going to happen. And it's one that I've been wanting for years. So this is a doubly exciting video. But first, listen to Ilia's answer when Joe Rogan asks about Ilia potentially fighting Conor McGregor. Listen to this.
I know that you want a world title fight at 155, but would you make an exception for a Conor McGregor fight at 155?
So he said, yes, I know you want a title fight. I know that's what you're going for right now, but would you make an exception if they offered you Conor right now? Now, the way that Ilia interprets it is, oh, would you take Conor? Well, just listen. Would you take Conor after the title fight? So listen to what he says.
But right now,
no. Good for you.
Do you think it's going to be excited if I beat Islam and then I give the chance to Conor?
No.
So think about it. So what Joe Rogan meant was, would you take the Conor fight in right now? And Ilia says no, but Ilia says it from the vantage point of, no, why would I fight Islam, beat him, and then take on Conor? Meaning, in his mind, he immediately assumed that the Conor fight would have to follow the Islam title fight, would have to follow him getting the title and then offering Conor a chance to challenge. Why would he think about it that way when I believe the question was meant the other way? Would you take it in place of the Islam fight? Because to me, that indicates that this deal is done. This deal is signed, at least on his end, and maybe they're just negotiating with Islam or whatever, and or maybe they just haven't announced it and they're waiting for the right time to announce it. That's what this tells me. That's why he answered the question that way. Okay, so listen to Ilia continue this answer. I'm going to rewind it one more time. We can play it one more time through, and we're going to get one more look at it. But now listen to his the rest of his response.
I mean, like right now, before Islam, like if the UFC calls you up and says, I know you want a world title fight, we guarantee you a world title fight after this.
Actually, we had that talks a little
really?
bit. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
What was that talk? Tell me what that talk was like.
No.
Come on.
So that talk apparently happened to some extent, is what he's saying. And obviously, it was turned down. Why? Because I think this fight is happening. Right, I think it's happening next. That's what I think. Because if it was just him fighting Oliveira or somebody else, why wouldn't he fight Conor instead? Right? Unless it was the title, and that's his number one objective. So he's going to go in and get the title shot, get the belt, and I think it's already a done deal.
After this one, I'm going to get some calls. That you know how the UFC is.
Okay, so he's already said, though, Joe Rogan was just pushing him to reveal a little bit more, and he won't because he doesn't want to get in trouble. But one more time, just listen to this one more time. I don't want to repeat it too much, but just listen to it one more time.
Oh, that you want a world title fight at 155.
So again, I know you want a world title fight at 155, but
would you make an exception for a Conor McGregor fight at 155?
But right now,
no. Good for you.
Do you think it's going to be excited if I beat Islam and then I give the chance to Conor?
No. See, he says right now, no. And the only reason why he's probably interpreting that way is because the fight with Islam is a done deal. So that's scheduled, that's happening. And that means if he gets the fight, if he fights Conor, it would be after that fight. After, in his mind, he's already envisioned winning the belt. I think it's happening. That's my 2 cents. Hey, I've said multiple times that I would have rather seen Islam fight Gaethje, or just Islam to take a fight that he wants, that he's interested in. I didn't want Islam taking this fight solely because he didn't seem to want it, because he felt like it wouldn't do much for his legacy. And so that made it less intriguing and interesting to me. That being said, if this fight is happening, I'm all for it. Ilia is a legend. Islam is a legend. It will be a massive, massive draw. So if it's happening, I am over the moon. I am thrilled. We shall see what happens. Now, here's the second little piece of news that I'm going to add on to this video, because why not? This is a fight that I've been talking about forever, and this is off the heels of Paddy having an incredible victory. That's right. I'm talking about real beef, real heat, the eventual potential matchup between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria, which I thought would be a mismatch long ago. Now we can see it's not such a mismatch. And who knows? Who knows? Paddy is a beast on the ground. His striking looked phenomenal against Michael Chandler. I don't know, but I say I want it. I want this fight. And listen to what Ilia says. He wants it too. Check this out.
But what excites me more is the fight with Paddy.
Really?
Yeah, that fight excites me even more. And if they could put that fight in Spain, in the Bernabeu Stadium, I know that Dana doesn't like to put the events in the stadium, but that's the only stadium in the world that they can close the roof.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he goes on about that, but think about how exciting this is now. If this actually happens, we have it. Let's play it out. We have Ilia versus Islam. Let's say that happens in June 27th at UFC 317. Like I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe Paddy has one more fight in between. Maybe he fights Justin Gaethje, as some people are saying. Maybe he fights Charles Oliveira. Maybe he fights Arman. Maybe he fights. I'm probably not going to fight Dustin. Maybe, but then Paddy gets some other fight in between in the summer, in July or August, depending on when he's ready to jump into a camp and do that whole thing again. And then, if again, I would probably pick Islam to beat Ilia, but who knows? But if Ilia wins, and then Paddy wins that fight later in the summer, we could see a super fight for the belt. And then in the alternative universe, if Islam beats Ilia in June and maybe Paddy doesn't have a fight scheduled next, it also would make sense for then Ilia, after losing, to face Paddy, the up-and-comer in the division. So I think one way or another, we're going to get the Paddy versus Ilia fight. And as I've mentioned a million times, he talks about the reason why they dislike each other too later on in this, but we love reality, truth. That's why Colby Covington is kind of not my cup of tea and not a lot of people's cup of tea, because he's just fake. But when we're talking about like the beef he's trying to manufacture and create with Paddy, it's just ridiculous. But this is real. They had a beef about a political issue, a tweet that Paddy made about Georgia in war times. Ilia is Georgian. He took massive offense. We all saw what happened with the hand sanitizer bottle being thrown at him. They nearly got into a fight. They nearly got into another altercation during a press room. We're going back and forth at each other. This is real. This has been brewing for a great deal of time. I want to see it finally settled, and I never thought we would, because they were in two different weight classes. They're in the same weight class. The stars have aligned. Let's go. Okay, 2 big takeaways. There you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys as excited as I am about both of these revelations? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.